Watching Rogers TV.
Hello and welcome to your region this week. I'm Anandi Carol Villery. Last week, the Food Bank of Waterloo Region held their construction event. Local organizations built different sculptures out of cans, all in support of the food bank. Let's take a look at some of the pieces.
Construction Waterloo Region is such a fun event, and it brings different community groups, corporate groups to where we are at Conestoga Mall today. And what they're doing is they're actually building structures, really unique structures out of non-perishable food. And it's a great opportunity for groups to get some creativity, but it also raises important issue about food insecurity in Waterloo Region and across the province and the country, and that's something that we don't always talk about. So this is a fun event, but it also brings awareness to an important issue. So Construction Waterloo Region started in 2008. I remember back in 2020 where we set up, and that was I think the day that they announced that there was a pandemic, but we continued with the setup, and then sure enough 2 days later we got the call and said all the structures had to come down. And then we spent 2 years looking back on all of the constructions events that we had. We tried to do some promotion, but it certainly wasn't the same as being here in person and building these creative structures together. We have 11 teams participating in this year's event, and there's so many different creative structures happening.
So at Google, we try and represent something from Google. So this is if you're ever in Chrome browser, this is the dinosaur that you see if you don't have the internet. So there's a little game you can play while you're waiting for the internet to come back. There's a cactus that comes by and you jump over it. Took about 2 months or so to kind of build it out. We've been doing it for a couple of years now. It's a team event that we do. We raise some funds, help spread awareness in the community for how to, food awareness and stuff like that. So we raise a couple $1,000s, buy the cans, and try to show everyone around.
We have Peter Rabbit's Maze. We have the Farmers Feed People. And we also have, as another example, a can tower. So I encourage you to come down to Conestoga Mall and have a look at all of these unique structures. There's been so many incredible ones happen over the years, and one trick that I've learned is if you actually take your cell phone and open the camera app, it actually looks different through the camera than it does looking at it in person.
So a lot of us are actually graduates of the Conestoga College program, Architecture, Construction, Engineering, Technology, and we did it with college back in 2012. So it's kind of something that I wanted to push. Obviously, it's a good cause supporting the Food Bank of Waterloo. So I wanted to push the building division to get back into it. We'll make it a yearly routine, fingers crossed. So today we decided on behalf of Kitchener Building to do the Kitchener Clock Tower that can be found in Victoria Park. We held a couple meetings internally throughout the building division. We pitched quite a few ideas. Some of them a little complex for our first build in maybe 10 years. We settled on the Kitchener Clock Tower because it helped represents who we are. So it's actually a donation from Kitchener Building to the Food Bank of Waterloo. So we didn't have to do any of the fundraising. It was simply then just making a trip out to Zehrs or any other grocery store and figure out what size cans we wanted. Tried to pick colors and a good meal. I would say all in all, the build took us about 2 hours. Quite substantially more in design time, but yeah, turned out pretty well, I think. I think it's been 2 to 3 months, 2.5 months-ish since we signed up, and then the deadlines just kept kind of sneaking up on us. So we got the design in, the final design, getting the payment ready, getting food order placed. So it's a little bit of a process, but for such a good cause, it's worth it.
Every single food item that is used in this structure goes back to the food bank where it's sorted by our volunteers and staff, and then it gets distributed to our network of more than 120 community programs and agency partners, and that food goes back out to the community, to those in need. Construction 2024. If you are interested in participating, please go to the website at thefoodbank.ca and send a note to the food bank team through the Contact Us link, and we will be sure that as soon as registration opens, we send you all the information that you need. We have corporate groups come together, community groups, and various different. We've had groups of friends do this event before, and it's just a really unique, fun opportunity for some team building and making a difference to those in our community. We do have an award that we hand out at the end, and that's for the People's Choice Award. So the structure with the most votes wins the award. And how are those votes calculated? Through financial donations. So if there's a structure that you like, there are volunteers here at the mall, and there's opportunities at each of the structures to vote for that structure so that they get entered into the People's Choice Award. The community has been so important and instrumental in helping us ensure that, over the last almost 40 years that the food bank has been in existence, but also the last 3 years through this difficult pandemic, the community has ensured that those who are in need of food assistance are fed, and we wouldn't be able to do our work without them. So just a big thank you.
Your Region This Week will be right back after this.
Welcome to Tapestry Hall Style. I'm Carolina Suarez, and I can't wait to show you the latest in fashion, food, and entertaining.
Tapestry Hall Style, Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. on Rogers TV. It's all about shopping local. Circle your calendar for Sunday, March 26th. The Joyful Vendors Market is happening at the Legion in Elmira.
Vendors will come and set up earlier in the morning, and it's open to the public starting at 10 a.m. and it runs till 3, and it's at the Legion on 1st Street. There'll be signs all across town letting people know how to get there. There'll be 24 local vendors at that event, varying from craft vendors to a wedding officiant to a candle maker to sweets and treats, you name it. There's going to be a whole variety of different vendors at that one. I think that it's all just about supporting local. There's been so many small businesses starting in the last number of years. And if I can be a part of helping a startup business become more successful, then to me, this is a success story.
For more information or to become a vendor, visit joyfulvendorsmarket.com.
Summer days, summer nights, lots of things to do, places to go, and people to see. If you're having a few drinks, be sure to plan ahead and get home safely. We don't want to pick you up. Drinking drivers risk injuries to themselves and others and take chances with their license, their jobs, and their future. Remember what's at stake and choose your ride, whether you're the driver, the passenger, or the party host. Thanks for supporting Sober Driving. I hope we never meet.
Visit arrivealive.org to find out more.
Welcome back. As temperatures start to rise, so do the water levels of ponds, streams, and lakes. The ice also has become very unstable. We spoke with Tom O'Hara from Kitchener Fire about the dangers around waterways.
So Kitchener Fire is recommending that you stay off the ice unless it's at least 4 inches thick. We're in our thaw cycle now that spring has sprung, and most ice conditions are very, very dangerous. So if you're approaching the water, as you can see behind me, it's only partially covered with the ice. That makes it extremely dangerous, especially close into the shore. So you should not proceed out on that ice at all. Also, if there's any waterways that have thawed and the water level has risen, if they're over a trail or over where you want to hike, you should find a different way around that area. So probably the first thing you're going to hear is some cracking noises, and you'll see the splines go through the ice. You really don't have a whole lot of time before that. You're going to be in the water pretty quickly. So if you're close to shore, that's a great big sign to get off the ice and get back to shore as quickly as possible. So number one, never ever go in the water to save somebody else, because odds are you're going to end up in the same situation. That's what we're here for. Call 911, get help on the way. Maybe you can find a rope or a long stick or a branch that could help whoever has fallen in the water. If you do fall into the water, the best thing is to spread your arms out as far as you can to displace your body weight. You can put your arms in front of you and actually let your coat and mitts freeze to the ice, and you can use that to pull yourself out. Make sure when you do that, you're moving towards the shore and not away from the shore. I wouldn't want to be in that water much more than 10 minutes. I don't know the exact number. It's going to depend on your body size, your body weight, what the outside temperature is, but you're for sure going to feel effects of that within a few minutes. For sure, anytime you're near any of the waters, whether it's the Grand River, the containment ponds, or any of the sluiceways that run through the city, as our water level increases, the rushing of the water and the speed of the water increases, you should stay well away from there so that there's no chance of you falling in. That's actually a fairly dangerous situation, because now you're moving with the water downstream, and it's very difficult to track people like that. Just be smart, use your common sense around the water. If you have any doubts at all about whether or not the ice is thick enough to go out on it, or crossing a pathway, just decide not to do it. Wait for another day.
Well, it's been 10 years. Zellers has reopened their doors after being gone for nearly a decade. We were there the moment they opened the doors.
On Thursday, March 23rd, new Zellers locations opened their doors for the first time since 2013. A total of 12 locations are opening within Alberta and Ontario, including in the Cambridge Centre, Erin Mills in Mississauga, Scarborough Town Centre, and the Rideau Centre located in Ottawa. A declining customer base in the mid to late 2000s led to the closure of 220 locations, but now they are back with a fresh new aesthetic. We spoke to some customers about their thoughts on the grand reopening.
This is exciting. I was telling her I had a Zellers card from the time I came here. I like that the prices were reasonable for a young family starting out.
I'm actually really happily impressed. I wasn't sure what to expect, but it's different than it was before, but I actually think it's an improvement. I think it's fantastic. I love it so far.
The Cambridge Centre location is on the second floor of the Hudson's Bay and is filled with nostalgic branding, including references to their original mascot, the Zeddy Bear, as well as callbacks to their classic diner menu. While Zellers has confirmed that there are no plans to incorporate a walk-in diner, a Zellers-themed food truck called Zellers Meals on Wheels will visit the newly opened location on Saturday, March 25th. These food trucks will serve familiar favorites including the Big Zed Burger, grilled cheese, fries and gravy, and more. There are plans to eventually expand Zellers stores to other provinces such as British Columbia, Saskatchewan, and Nova Scotia, making the total number of locations increase to 25. This is Andrew Wood, your region this week.
A paper from the University of Waterloo looks into the reason why people are hesitant from taking short breaks at work despite high levels of stress. We spoke with Professor James Beck about the paper and their findings.
The research from the University of Waterloo is finding employees from many different walks of life are hesitant to taking breaks despite their high levels of stress. Workers feel pressured to get their work done on time rather than taking a few minutes to gather their thoughts and relax.
We found two main culprits for why that breakdown occurs. One is a preoccupation with expedience, with getting your work done quickly, and an upstream cause of that was workload. So having a lot to do, I'm concerned with getting it done quickly. And so, and then the other factor was the culture of the organization, particularly the culture around break taking. So when, for people who are in organizations, and they believe that their supervisors and their coworkers had an attitude about breaks that was less than favorable.
The study spoke with 107 employees about their reasonings for taking breaks and not taking breaks. Then focused on 287 other employees on their quality of sleep, fatigue, concerns specifically focused on their performance, their workload, and how many breaks they take during their workday.
You know, if we talk about culture, that's coming from somewhere, and often from top-down messaging from managers and other folks who are higher in the organizational hierarchy than perhaps the participants in our study. And so those participants in our study are looking at those folks higher in the organization and saying, well, it's my belief that they're not going to tolerate me taking a break, that this is going to be something that's going to be, you know, even though I'm feeling fatigued or I'm feeling my performance is slipping, and that I would really like a break and really think I could benefit from a break, I just don't feel like I have the latitude to do it.
The paper was made in an effort to help promote employee well-being that helps influence break taking. For your Region This Week, I'm Robert Kabinga.
Your Region This Week continues after this.
Calling all journalism students. Omni Television is once again awarding scholarships to qualified students pursuing a career in third language journalism.
When I got this scholarship, I felt a lot of gratitude, and it's also a great chance to learn about what third language journalism is.
Omni is home to a variety of locally produced current affairs programs and daily national newscasts, broadcast in 6 languages. To learn more about Omni scholarships, visit omnitv.ca/scholarships.
My name is Chase Nicholas. I am a Mi'kmaq hockey player. Growing up, I always remember my family talking about the Mi'kmaq as the creators of the game of hockey. In grade 7, I did research on Mi'kmaq hockey sticks as the first sticks of the NHL. I found a Mi'kmaq hockey stick made in 1917, the same year the NHL was formed. I was surprised to find out the very stick I was holding was made by my great-great-grandfather, Alexander Cope. In 1934, an elder known as Old Joe Cope wrote a letter to the Halifax Herald claiming the Mi'kmaq created hockey. I found out later that I am a direct descendant of Old Joe Cope. There was a time when Mi'kmaq children were torn from their families and not allowed to speak their language, losing their words and stories. But the stories are coming back to us. Stepping on the ice, I take pride knowing the roots of the game of hockey stem from my ancestors in the Mi'kmaq Nation.
Are you ready for a mouth-watering culinary adventure? Join me on a taste of Grand River. From farm to table, we will explore the diverse food landscape in our community and meet passionate people behind our thriving businesses. So, what are you waiting for? Come and join me every Wednesday on Rogers TV, 7 p.m. A taste of Grand River.
Welcome back. Here is Sean Fafaro with the OHL highlights from the Guelph Storm and Kitchener Rangers over the past week.
Let's take a look at the local action over the past week in the OHL. It started off on Saturday. The Kitchener Rangers traveled to Owen Sound for a Midwest matchup with the Attack. It's the Attack that would get on the board first here. Ben Cormier's third of the year. The Owen Sound Attacker up 1-0 as we head to the second. Adrian Misiljevic recently returning to the lineup right here. Potts his third of the year to tie the game up, and then short-handed on a breakaway with a penalty coming. No need for it. Cedric Guindon pots the goal. 2-1 for the Attack. Trent Swick right here. Check this out. Finds the loose puck on the doorstep. Ties it 2-2. We head to overtime. And the red-hot Matthew Sopp gets the goal here for the winner. But Philip Machard doing all the work finding an open teammate. Matt Sopp with his 22nd of the year. Marco Costantini with 40 saves in a must-win game for the Rangers on a snowy night in Owen Sound. The same night, the Guelph Storm are in Erie taking on the Otters, and it's the Otters who would get on the board first in the first period. Artyom Kulikov gets his 4th of the year. We head to the second with the Otters up 1-0. But the Storm would explode in the second right here. Matthew Patra gets the goal, and that ties it up 1-1. And here on the power play, Braden Bowman pots his 31st of the year. And then back-to-back power play goals for the Storm here as Jeff Luchenko gets his 5th of the year. The Storm are up 3-1 as we head to the third. 4th unanswered goal in a row for the Storm as Chandler Romeo scores his 9th of the season. That puts the Storm up 4-1 at the time. Erie would answer back on the power play. Sam Alfano cuts the lead, makes it 4-2, but with 6 seconds left in the game, picked off in the zone here. The captain, Cooper Walker, gets his 19th into the empty net. 5-2 is the final. Patrick Lever, the winning goaltender, with 22 saves for the Storm. On Sunday, it would be the Rangers hosting the Kingston Frontenacs for their only visit to the Odd. After getting back at 1:30 in the morning in a snow-filled trip from Owen Sound, would the Rangers be up to the task? They certainly were. It starts off early. Matt Sopp, the overtime winner about 12 hours earlier, gets the Rangers on the board 1-0 in the first. Carson Rakoff in the second would make it 2-0 with his 27th of the year. And then the third period was all Rangers. Danny Jilkins, 28th of the year. Reed Vlad here in the third period gets his 31st of the year. Marcus Vandenberg actually got the secondary assist on that one. 4-0 for the Rangers. Ty Hollett right in front. Check out this shot. Boom, right into the net. Ty Hollett, 2nd of the year. Great move to forward for the Rangers defenseman. Then Carson Rakoff finishes it off with his 28th of the year. 6-0 for the Rangers is the final. The Kingston Frontenacs only managing 1 shot in the third period. Marcus Vandenberg with his first career shutout and first career point with an assist on the Reed Vlad goal. Midweek action would see the Guelph Storm travel to Windsor to take on the Windsor Spitfires. A tough task on the road for the Storm. It was Windsor that would get on the board first here. Matthew Maggio's 52nd of the year, 1-0 for the Spits. Into the second period on the power play, Alex Christopoulos gets his 42nd of the year on a penalty shot here, because the Windsor Spitfires need more advantages. A penalty shot, Aiden Castle, 3-0 for the Spits. Not looking good for the Storm. On the power play in the third period, midway through, Cooper Walker, his 20th of the year, comes on the power play. They cut the lead to 3-1, give a little bit of hope, a little bit of light, but Shane Wright extinguishes it. 4-1 is the final for the Windsor Spitfires. Wednesday night as well, the Rangers would head to Erie, the Erie Insurance Arena, to take on the Honors for the final matchup between these two teams this season. Spencer Sova gets the Honors on board first, but it was all Rangers from there. Francesco Pinelli here, a shorthanded goal, beautiful pass from Matt Sopp. 1-1 is the score as we head into the second. It's all Rangers in the second. Francesco Arcuri, you'll see score right here, his 47th of the year. Rakoff would add the third goal, and then right now, Philip Mishar gets leveled, but gets the pass to his teammate, Francesco Pinelli, 2nd of the year and 40th on the season. The Rangers up 4-1 after 2. Reed Vlad here picks off the turnover, scores his 32nd of the year, and then Francesco Pinelli, why not add a third goal at the end of the game? His third hat trick of the season. That's right, a hat trick of hat tricks for the captain, Francesco Pinelli, and 6 unanswered goals for the Rangers. These teams head into the final weekend of the season. They'll play at home on Friday, but then on the road on Saturday, it's the Storm at Saginaw to close the season. And for the Rangers, a huge matchup at Bud Gardens on Sunday at 6 p.m. The Rangers taking on the Knights. That game almost certainly will determine playoff seedings for each team.
Your Region This Week will be right back after these messages. Stay tuned.
Calling all journalism students, Omni Television is once again awarding scholarships to qualified students pursuing a career in third language journalism.
I think all journalism students and aspiring journalists should take the time to learn more about third language and ethnic journalism, and I think the Omni Scholarship is a great way to raise awareness on that.
Omni is home to a variety of locally produced current affairs programs and daily national newscasts, broadcast in 6 languages. To learn more about Omni Scholarships, visit omnitv.ca/scholarships.
October 5th, 2014, my daughter was hit by a train. She was walking along the sides of the tracks, and it shattered her world.
Paint like a pro with artist Lisa Braun. She offers a step-by-step tutorial that will have you creating a masterpiece from the comfort of your own home. On the Canvas, Sundays at 10 a.m. on Rogers TV.
For 25 years, you've been helping to make our roads safer by doing the right thing. You've been the designated driver, you've stayed over, called home, you've called a cab or a friend, and planned ahead. Let's keep doing the right thing. Support sober driving by getting yourself and your friends home safely.
Do the right thing.
Visit arrivalive.org to find out more. Arrive Alive. Drive sober.
Welcome back. We've spoken about the dangers of water levels and ice, but another concern that comes with the thaw are little critters that land on our little critters. That's right, it's flea and tick season. We spoke with the KWSP Humane Society about the risks and what to do if you find a tick on your fur baby.
So tick season, typically we say it begins March and goes through until November, but really ticks are active anytime it's above 4 degrees Celsius, which sometimes can happen in winter here too. Ticks are typically found in wooded areas or areas with tall vegetation. So at your home, keep your lawns nice and mowed so that if your pets are out or you are out, the ticks won't be finding that as a great place for them to live. And then for your pets, keep them on tick medication, especially during that March to November. Sometimes it might even be worth it to do it year round. And also watch your pets, make sure they stay on trails so that they're not going down into the larger vegetation when they're on walks. And for ourselves, when you are on walks, make sure that you're wearing light colored clothing. That way if a tick is on you, you can see them a little bit easier. And make sure you're wearing long sleeved shirts and pants, and tuck your pants into your socks so they can't get onto your skin. Stay on trails yourself, and make sure you're wearing a bug spray with DEET. You also, as soon as you get inside from outside, you want to make sure that you're checking yourself and your pets over for ticks, and removing any that are there. So the next steps, definitely remove it. If it hasn't bitten yet and it's just crawling around, remove it gently and put it into a sealed container, so you can take a picture of it and ID it. If it has bitten, you want to be using tweezers or a tick remover to remove it really nice and gently, and then also IDing it. So there's a website called etick.ca. They give suggestions on how to take pictures. You can upload your photo, they'll ID it for you, and then from there, only one type of tick will give you Lyme disease, which is really the biggest concern with ticks, and that would be the black-legged deer tick. If it's not that, you don't have to worry about Lyme disease. If it is black-legged deer tick, you can get rid of the tick. Just keep in mind that if you do start feeling sick, you can go to your doctor and let them know that you were bitten by a black-legged deer tick in the past little bit. So the number of black-legged deer ticks is extremely low. On the etick.ca website, I was searching yesterday and only found one black-legged deer tick that was ID'd in our region, and that was back in April 2021. That being said, of course, not all ticks are put on etick.ca, so that doesn't mean that there aren't more that were found, but it is pretty low. And there is on the Region of Waterloo Public Health website a risk map for Lyme disease that you can look at. You can get them because they are pretty prevalent, but of the black-legged deer ticks that I was talking about, again, those ones are pretty low, and the chances of the black-legged deer tick that you have on you having the Lyme disease
The numbers I've been seeing are around 20%. So really, really low.
That's all for this episode of Your Region This Week. If you have a story idea, visit our website, rogerstv.com/yourregion-this-week, and contact our producer. There you can also watch past segments from the show. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.